Hello everybody, welcome back to Gelvin Valley, Farming Simulator 15, a wonderful map made by Wild Wes. We have commenced harvest, and I'm just going to top off our little trailer here so we can send him full over to the pheasant pluckers. I know there are some settings in courseplay that, let me just send him off now. Oop, I may need to get this other tractor out of the way because it's right where this course is going to come through. And we will see how good of a job we did setting up our course, as our hero is going to take off and head on down to offload the crop. And if we happen to see our 50,000 in the hole kind of trickle down, then we'll know he made it. And if it doesn't, well, tough tiddlywinks. Let's see, I don't know if this is a decent enough course. It probably isn't. If we can get this guy moving just a little bit. I like trying to have a smoother course. When we're baling, it makes it a little bit easier to run the baler when it's straight windrows versus following the combine around. I know I'm kind of having that difficulty at the moment in my Farm Sim 11 play. Here we go. Yeah, I think this will work. That'll make it straight enough. Make straight paths for our feet. And you know, I think it's going to hold pretty much everything that we have left in the combine. Is going to hold it all in the tank. So as soon as he's done there, we're going to move to the next field, which I believe is just up the hill to field number 22. With that particular header that he has, it doesn't take nearly as long to cut through a field as it did with the smaller one, of course. That's one of the reasons I really like it. We actually owned the smaller header that we had there for a while, but I just like this one here. I think it looks better aesthetically for the combine and helps us get through it quicker. And we've rented it for 2 whole days at quite a reasonable rate, I might add. And you know what? I think our hero is ready to be moved. Let me turn this off here. Alright, he's doing okay. He's on his way. And we have plenty of room in here. Let's get our beacons going. I believe we just got to head up the hill. I think we got to go downhill first. Oh, there's a course plate. That's pretty handy. Showing it on the map. And yep, we got some climbing to do once we get out of this field here. I don't know if in real life we would be harvesting at 5:46 in the morning, but that is what we're doing in here. Oops, it's stuck on a low speed. Let's get as much speed as we can. For whatever reason, this combine takes its sweet time traveling, so we kind of have to deal with that. But that's alright, we'll get there. But you know, there's something I wanted to talk about in here too, as I get in this episode. A lot of times, things I chat about in here, just as my friend Eustace Farmer would call, did that get hung up on that sign? I should fix that so that here, car, I'm going to go right through you, so that it knocks the sign over instead of holding up an entire combine. Anyways, I was saying, Eustace Farmer would call it chewing the fat. That's kind of the term he had for it. We're just talking about any random thing. And something came up here very recently. A friend of mine contacted me, someone who I'm not going to name him. I didn't ask him for permission, so I don't want to just put a name to it. But he had a house fire, And you know, we've corresponded a little bit. It's kind of upset his life, if you will, at the moment, as you can imagine. Fortunately, his whole home didn't burn down. He actually showed me a couple pictures of it, and the damage looks nasty, kind of around a door. It had something to do with the power line coming into the home, with some wires getting crossed, and I think we all know what electricity does when wires get crossed and heat is created, and it burned part of his home, kind of right around the door, a little bit of the deck, if you will, maybe some awning. It looks bad, and it could have been really bad, as they say. Oh, hey. Look at that. We're going by the forest we planted, and by George, I think those trees are getting taller. Cool. One of these episodes we're going to be in there harvesting them things. Love seeing them grow. Oh, don't get tangled up on the bridge. Sorry. Maybe those are as tall as they're going to get. I'd have to check and see kind of how they're growing. Anyway, his home burned, and fortunately the damage doesn't look too extensive, so it isn't like it totally destroyed his home or that kind of thing. But it's at the least it's an inconvenience. And you know, we're all busy, and you don't just wake up in the morning or go to bed at night, you know, wondering if your house is going to get burned down, and plan for those kinds of things. And I think he told me it would be several weeks to a couple months even for the necessary repairs to get made. And so he's having to make some changes in his plans. You know, whatever else he was going to do this at this time of year has kind of been upset. And so, and by the way, he never complained about it. I think I would sure be complaining. But you know, it's just with the modern conveniences we all come to depend on and expect. You know, what do we do anymore when the power goes out, when the internet doesn't work, and all these niceties that, you know, are built upon decades and centuries of toil before they ever came to fruition or were produced. You know, if we lived in our grandparents' day, even 100 years ago, how different the world was. You know, where these same things still would happen, but they were just a hardier people, it seemed, and could handle a lot of these things better than we do today. Wow, look at that water. That is so red. That's pretty cool. I don't know if that's just from the sunlight reflecting on it or just how that works. It's kind of a neat effect. Alright, let's see if I can get over this bridge without encountering hardship. Yeah, I never want to do that in real life. Scraping all the gold. And of course I tangle with more signs. Let me check and see how... Oh, look at that. He's on his way back. The question is did he sell anything? You know, I'm still 50,000 in debt. Oh boy, I'm going to be upset if he didn't dump the load. Actually, you know what? Let me see. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Okay, this bozo. Now, I thought that merely driving over a trigger... Oh, now I'm... Let me see here. Let me turn on my differential lock. I better get to a better place to turn around. But I thought merely driving over the trigger should have caused him to sell the grain. But he didn't. Which makes me wonder, am I on the correct mode? Oh, that's right. I forget I got the damage mod in here. I gotta be careful. Let me see. What mode is this? Grain transport. Combi. Empty combine and offload. What was this one over here? Overloader. Empty combine over... Well, blame it. This should be the mode needed. Well, I'm going to send him back. And let me go back to my combine. I'm going to keep him going up the hill. And I'm going to keep an eye on my tractor, so maybe I can be up there. Okay, hold. Oh, dead ahead. That's where I gotta go. Straight forward. Anyway, I was just feeling bad for my friend, probably a friend with some of you too, if I were to name him. You know, having to deal with that in his personal life, and it. You know, I think I told him when I was a kid, it was basically a nightmare of mine that, you know, the home would burn down. And on the street, well, not on, literally on the street, but a neighbor one street over, if you will, to where we live, when I was, probably 10 years old-ish, somewhere in there, they had a house fire, and it was a bad one. You know, I still remember waking up, you know, I think to the sound of sirens coming up the street, and maybe my parents coming in, and going outside in the dead of night and seeing the flames just shooting up into the air from where this home was. And there was a girl that went to our school who lived in that home, and I remember wondering about her, you know, if she was okay. And it turns out she was, and her parents, I mean, they got out. I don't remember what started it, but what I do remember is just the terror I felt, you know, with all the, let me see, where's our hero? I'm going to get him going on this. There it is, come on, you can do it. I'll take a little bit of risk. Let me go out to this guy. I want to see why he isn't offloading it. But it's just a lot of those scenes are vivid in my mind of seeing, hearing the sirens, seeing the flames. I don't know that we could smell the smoke. It kind of was across the ravine from where we were. But seeing the flames shooting into the night air and seeing the fire trucks come, and, you know, it's on quite a hill, I think, on the other side of this small ravine, and listening to the trucks groan as they went up the hill to try to get up there. And, you know, one truck, this big tanker truck, ran out of water, and I was like, oh my goodness, you know, firemen can run out of water? It's like it was just a foreign concept to me. And seeing the truck go screaming down the road, and I think they still do this. There was a pond, maybe not quite a mile away from where the fire was, and they went in there and took water out of the pond they pumped it out to replenish what was in there. All right, bugger, go in there and dump your cargo, please. Well, look at that. You'll do it when I'm watching, but you didn't do it the last time, you turkey. Bah humbug. Okay, now really I need him over on field number 22. So, let me see here. I think I want to take him down. Yeah, I'll let him go on his course here till we get over to the road, the main highway, and then I think I'm going to be setting up another route that kind of comes through town here, down over to Pheasant Pluckers. This time at least it put me to 48, so it'll slowly but surely I think we'll get there. Just have to be patient and take our time as we earn money. And I remember even we were outdoors long enough that we waited for this tanker to fill, and it's like, you know, please hurry, 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 because you could see the flames up the hill. I think there's something about fire that just seems to accentuate the senses and your ability to hear. I don't know what it is. It's probably some kind of a physics thing going on there too. Is this going full speed? Oh, what was that? Oh yes, there's a... There we go. There's some little limiter in there. I just turned that sucker. Oh, what's that other one? There we go. Hold on. All right. Don't hit control and the arrow keys at the same time. I should be able to get up to 30, I think, in here. Maybe. Going over my new stream textures. Let me take this sucker up to the field. Oh yeah, I'm getting up to speed here. I think probably the quickest way is just to head on up the hill. Try to hit this at a full-on gallop. Up this steep ravine in here. I think I can. Yeah, I know I said in the last episode maybe I would hire a truck. Maybe before I do that I need to make some money. Yeah, this hopefully is where we're going to make some substantial money, is harvesting this field. That's going to keep us occupied for a while. But it cost us a pretty sum to get that field, and hopefully we can earn some money on it to pay for it. Let me take the course off now that we have that other field done. I think, yeah, I don't want to turn right there. I think I gotta literally come through town, staying on the main road, and head me on out to the field. Just gotta cut some corners to get there. And then I'm gonna need to set up another course. We're going to see how our tractor has behaved, excuse me, our combine, while we've been gone. I see it blinking up there, so I'm pretty sure it's already full. This is a decent sized field in here too in its own right. So we should be able to get some decent harvest off of this. And speaking of fire, you know, it always was an ever-present concern in the harvest field to make sure we didn't encounter fire with the combines. I'm pretty sure I've talked about that dynamic within some of these. Oh, here we go, heading on up the hill. Gotta be getting close. There it is. I don't know if we can slither in alongside here. We'll see. I don't know that we can. That's pretty steep. Yeah, we're gonna hop over to our combine. Set the brakes. Take it off higher. We'll get her offloaded. They would never offload this quickly in real life, but that's okay. We'll put that down and we'll get this going again. Like, we'll let our tractor just sit there for a moment. We'll head back over here to take care of our windrowing. You know, I don't remember talking to that girl who lived there, our neighbor. It'd be interesting to talk to her now, though I haven't a clue where she is. You know, we're now, both of us are old. But I'd be curious to know her perspective, you know, as a little girl when it was her home burning down. And, you know, I just remember from my perspective as a little kid is what was happening to her, I just took it as if it was happening to me. And I just remember going to bed scared out of my wits, you know, that I would go to sleep and then our house would burn down. You know, and I'd be stuck in it and not able to get out, and, you know, all those childhood fears or whatever that kids can have. And I'm not going to say it was a debilitating fear, but it was a very real one, you know, to a kid at that time. And as it turned out, her family hired my brother and me to kind of help take care of some things up there. While I think they moved out for a while some contractors came in and worked on the house to get everything fixed again. You know, in their case, it didn't destroy their house either. I would say it almost totaled it. I mean, I would say it probably burned at least half of it. And so I just have some memories too of my brothers and I riding our bikes up the air, and we helped take care of some yard work and some things while the family was away. They were a pretty wealthy family, as I recall, and so they were rebuilding and had mercy on some of their poor neighbor kids to come to help take care of a few things, which was nice of them. The next burn that I remember, and I'm pretty sure I've talked about that before too in here, is it wasn't a home, it was a hay barn. And I still remember that one too. That one happened around Christmas time. And, you know, with our church, we had gone out Christmas caroling, and they hauled all of us in the back of an old hay truck. Good thing we never crashed or anything like that, but that was kind of turned into a people hauler. They put in some bales of hay, and we kind of sat back in there in between stops, if you will. And I remember coming down, I mean, it was Evergreen Road out here in the country where I live, and just looking up on the hill where this hay barn was, and once again, flames just shooting skyward. It was just an enormous fire. I think it maybe got started with welding sparks. I don't remember exactly. But anybody that's been around hay that started on fire before, I mean, you know exactly what I mean. There ain't no putting it out. You basically just watch it burn, because there ain't enough water in the world to put it out. It's just gonna burn and burn and burn, and you can pour the water on it, and nothing's gonna happen. So that's pretty much what they did. It was a total loss. Just burn it down literally to the cement foundation, and it was just totally gone. It was such a beautiful barn too. It was enormous. It had a huge quantity of hay in it. But I'll never forget, you know, as a kid, just watching that, you could almost feel the heat glowing off the hill. You know, standing on the far side, we were probably at least 1,000 yards away, I would guess. And just very vivid watching it. Oh yeah, they had the fire service and everything up there, the good old fire brigade. They couldn't do anything except make sure, I think, that it didn't burn anything else important. But one of the things I remember with Adam, we knew the people that had that barn, and I remember my father taking us boys up there kind of in the aftermath of it to kind of help with a little cleanup. And going up there, you know, they showed some of the damage done, and there was like this little plastic horse, if you will, you know, that a kid would ride or whatever, and they showed where it was sitting, and it was melted in part, and it was a long distance away from the barn, and they just showed where it was sitting and said that's how hot it was. And you know, I have a memory, I worked at Lone Oak Farms growing up, and they did a lot of field burning and with their grassy crops as part of what we did. And I have this memory of helping a neighbor burn, and there was one area of the field where it got into a stack of bales, straw bales, you know, which it shouldn't have, but fire does what it wants many times. And that's where I learned you can't put out a hay fire, you just got to let it burn. Because, you know, I was, with helping burn the field, we always had to take some water out the air to help in case the fire got out of control or in an area where it shouldn't. And so I poured some water on it and realized it was just fruitless. And it was hot. It was blistering hot. There was only a certain distance, you know, of which you could approach the haystack, and if you got any closer, you were just asking to peel the paint off the tractor you were driving. It was that hot. And so for this hay barn, I can only imagine the inferno that must have been inside there, you know, as firemen just had to stand by, actually at a distance away, and just kind of watch it burn and make sure nothing else went with it. I think it did take a couple trees, too, that were standing around there. Couldn't help but have those go out. I heard that kind of in the early bits of the fire, I mean, there was, I don't know if it was he was a hay contractor, I recall, and I don't know if he himself did it or if one of his hired guys did it, but basically went to, oop, you know what, let me park him here. And I think I have a combine that needs unloading. Not sure why it keeps taking me off of four-wheel drive and diff lock, but anyway. So as the fire started, he was coming inside the building, trying to drive out every bit of machinery that he could so that it didn't get burned up, like his pickup truck and some other things that were in there. And I don't think he was able to get everything out. It was just too blistering hot, already even down there. And it's kind of almost a fool's errand at times to try to save everything you can, but I know he did it. All right, folks, we have another full trailer here, and we're gonna head off to pheasant pluckers. We are still at 48,000 in the hole, so hopefully we're starting to make some headway. And here, you know what, just hold your nose, pretend I'm not driving in the crop. I just want to get back and get a decent run starting point here. We are going to head across the valley. Give me another dot. There we go. Let's see, I think I want to stay on this road here. There would be other routes we could take as well, but I want to stay on this one. So anybody, I'd be interested to read in the comments what's your experience with fire. If you ever had the tragedy or had to deal with that as a family, with your own home burning down or someone that was close to you. It's just one of those emotional things. Home is where good stuff is supposed to happen, not bad stuff. It's kind of like, if someone broke into your home and stole something or breached the door in any way, it's, you want to drive right through it. It's just one of those uncomfortable things you don't expect something like that to happen at your home, whether theft or fire or anything, and it can really give a person an emotional pounding, especially if you're a kid trying to process all that. And fortunately, we never had a fire at our home, in my home, so never had to face my own nightmare, if you will. So I'm thankful for that. And I know there's been plenty of folks out there who have. I grew up kind of in a rural community, if you will, and probably, let's see here, 2, maybe 2.5, 3 miles to the south and east of us is a small town. And small town meaning I don't think it even has a post office. It isn't even registered. It's just basically a small community. And I think they still have a firehouse there, mainly populated by volunteers. I have a cousin who volunteered there for a while, and it is old school fire brigade, or that's kind of what I grew up with, where these volunteers, unpaid, if it happened in the night, there was this loud siren in the small town that would wake you from sleep, and it was your signal to get your butt down to the fire station and get your equipment on and get out to where the fire was. I don't know how they communicated where it was, but I have memories of a kid, even though this was several miles away. We always heard it at our house whenever it went off, and maybe that's part of what fueled the nightmare as a kid, is just hearing it enough times and knowing that somebody, there was a fire somewhere, someone was in trouble. And I think a lot of times it wasn't even a fire, it was a wreck, those kinds of things. I remember talking to my cousin, they do a lot of training for fires at these places, but really, he said most of what they had to deal with wasn't fires at all. It was, like a car wreck, it was a medical emergency of some kind. And I know he eventually left working there because he says, I kind of came here to fight fires. I didn't want to deal with all the paramedic stuff. I've heard a number of guys say that too. Wow, look how red that sky is over there. Yeah, I comment on the red sky. Of course, it zooms in on the tractor. Yeah, maybe not the best sky we could have, but yeah, we can hear the talking of people eating their breakfast at the pheasant pluckers. We are going to follow the breadcrumbs back to the field. I think this time we are field 22, right? And hopefully we can use this course a few times. Unlike the one that we set up over on field number 25, next time it'll be of value because we don't have to set the silly thing up. I just want him to sell it when he goes through. And I think we proved that by watching it here a little bit ago, that you don't have to set up a waypoint. He should detect the trigger and go in and sell what's in the trailer. But he didn't. That one other time he drove right on through. There goes the bell. Now once again, I use that bell because it reminds me of my departed friend, Eustace Farmer. Friend to all of us, many of us that knew him. Had a wonderful YouTube channel. I still listen to his videos. Matter of fact, today I even listened to several of them. An awesome storyteller, very gifted in writing scripts, editing videos, and just very talented and generous person in what he shared with the world, not only as a storyteller, but in terms of friendship to a lot of us. And one of the gifts he gave me arrived in the mail, and it was this little plastic cow timer. You know, kind of this cute little cow, if you will. And he said, this should help me know when I reach 30 minutes on a video so I can quit boring people with all my dry commentary. So the bell is sounded. We're just about done making this route here. So I think I'll let you go and maybe finish this, making this route off cam. We're now only 46,000 in debt, so we're slowly whittling away at our bill to the bank, and hopefully are on the way of taking good care of that over this ensuing harvest. Thank you for sharing a little time with me and coming to watch what's going on in Gelvin Valley. And I will let you go and bid you adieu and see you on the next one. Goodbye.